Hello everyone! Welcome to the festival Smart Migration to the Future, where we will discuss modern problems of science that will help us to emigrate to our bright and hopeful future. We open festival with a very special guest who just came from a land far, far away and the sea, Arctic Sea. So it's Aglaia, and she will talk about, you can see forever chemicals. So she's a student at the Humboldt University of Berlin and is a polar guide, a humble servant of ambassador and a humble servant of biology, and also a young scientist and a popular science speaker. So we are very grateful for you to be here and looking forward for your talk.
Thank you so much for the invitation. Yeah. So because we're talking about future, some things will stay with us probably forever. We hope not, but probably it will. And like when I was a kid and we had those history classes, like the main thing they told us, the teachers, that we need to know our past to escape the mistakes we already did, so we won't see those mistakes again, and we'll live in a better place. So because of that, we'll start this festival about mistakes and issues and a lot of that. Trigger word. So on this slide, you might see random things. There is a raincoat, bakery paper, pen, lipstick, cigarette packaging, even dental floss. What is common for all of those things? What do you think?
They're made of plastic.
Kindly, but not. All of them are actually containing chemical which is called PFAS. It's not the specific chemical, but it's like the whole family of chemicals. We'll talk about them later in the very end of the lecture. But the issue is that specifically those chemicals, PFAS, are now called forever chemicals. We cannot destroy them, they just accumulate and they are bringing problems. You see where it goes. And before I start, I think it's better for me to prove that you need to listen to me. Why would you like to spend your time listening my talk? As previously said, I'm a humble servant of biology. Everything in my life is dedicated to biology. I am biology student, biology scientist, biology lecturer, and biology polar guide. I'm working on nice vessels all around the globe and showing people how beautiful and precious our world is. And also, I'm now doing my master's in Humboldt Universität Berlin, and I'm also participating in such a thing which is called iJam. It is international competition between young biologists all around the world to find some problem and solve it with synthetic biology. Yes, that's kind of pictures to prove that I'm actually doing all these things. And the nice quote I would like to start is, when change is easy, the need for it cannot be foreseen. But when the need for change is apparent, change has become expensive, difficult, and time-consuming. So mostly, we just missing the time when the change was actually needed. And this quote was given in 1980s. So it's like a long, long time ago. And that's important. And by the way, I just want to focus your attention that this is the picture of a city in China, and this is not a fog. It is small. It is like all of those beautiful landscapes. You barely can see the buildings on the top of a picture. It is small. It is all from fabrics. So we know about mistakes, we know about changes which we usually need, but we do nothing with them. So basic timeline of any new technology we might see is we have this innovation which is a according to word innovation, bring something new and cool. That's why we implement it into our fabrics, manufactories, businesses, etc. We're starting mass use. This chemical or any other technology accumulates in our society, in our body, in our planet, and then we see crisis. And only after that we thinking about regulations. What do you think now is a time span of this cycle? So how long does it take to get from innovation to regulation right now?
20 years, something.
50?
20 years, 50?
Yeah, I don't know.
You actually quite close, because it's 30 to 50 years from technology to regulation. And the chemicals I'm specifically now working on with my iGEM team is PFAS. It is like more than 10K specific compounds in all this chemical class. And now there is no approved remediation for PFAS. So it's extremely difficult to destroy this molecule. I will talk about it later. And even testing is now only possible by chemical or physical equipment, which is expensive. So we just have lots of those molecules, which now in stage of accumulation and almost crisis, but hopefully we're trying to make this time span of regulation shorter. So at least now we have those regulations, but we need somehow to be able to calculate the amount of those molecules in water, for example. Like, you cannot say, do not run faster than 20 kilometers per hour and do not give the person the way how to measure its speed. So now we have regulation, but we don't have instrument to check. And that's kind of sad. But before there was PFAS, there was many other technologies, which you maybe are more familiar with. So I will show you them after I get away from those trash bins. So I think the first and sad one, all of them are sad. This whole lecture is actually sad. Radium girls. It was long time ago. It was the beginning of very savage and scary and wild 20th century, and we people realized that there is such a thing as radiation. And we was so amazed by it. We wanted to put this technology everywhere. And for example, there was radium girls. This is the real picture of a lady who was working on a fabric with radium. And like, there is no such, in my lecture I didn't put so much awful pictures, but it was like scary as hell. So it was from 1917 to 1938. Girls was working on fabric, and there is nice thing about radium, it can light in the night. So like, you can see now things. The issue of beginning of 20th century is electricity, because like, when you have electricity, now you can expand the working time for your employees. And I think like, why would you need to make luminescent something if you have electricity? Because of First World War. So American officers would be able to check time, for example, on clocks watch, on watch, without lighting them up. So like super tiny little glow, but you can see the time. And woman was working on fabric. Hooray, hooroo! Girls have working places, but like they needed to paint those arrows in the watches really carefully. So they've been using tiny brushes. Oh no, sorry. And radium was kind of expensive. So, and you need to wet the brush a little bit. And because it's expensive, if you would use water, bigger amount of radium will just go into this water. So those girls were specifically told to lick brushes so they can spend less water and spend less radium. So each girl was sitting for many hours per day licking the brush, which was just put it into radium and painting. So it's like enormous amount of radium into their mouth. Amount of osteosarcoma, which was connected to jaw or any other places of face, was enormous. So lots of them got sick, lots of them died. Approximately more than 100 women specifically died because of cancer, which was forced by radium. Why we don't know specific amount of victims? Because there was no, it was not disclosed. Like the girl was dying and the doctor was like, she did something. That's not because of fabric. And the first case was almost in court, was forced by Grace Fryer, 1928, 10 years before end of using radium. She forced to pay back to one of the employees, or one of her co-worker, just to help with the medical issues. The final case which closed the whole radium thing was made because a man was hurt by radium. Not because of girls who was working there, some man who also was working there, he was like, oh no, something is wrong with my jaw. And then like, oh no, radium is killing a man. Now we need to cancel. So the first official case is 1928, and 10 years more, they still been using this technology. But like radiation was hard, because like we knew about cancer and we thought that radiation will cure everything. It was super popular in science fiction, in just globally in media content. So like this is like an entertainment for X-ray clock. So like just an alarm, just with the fancy nice glowing in the night arrows. Nice. The one thing which actually scares me the most, it was super popular in Germany, in Russia, in America, like all around the globe. Not all around the globe, but like it was widely used to use radiation to check how your shoes are fitting your feet. So imagine you're going into a shoe store and you're trying to make pair, and they're like, oh, we have actually super nice machine, you can check how good the shoes actually for you. Do you want to see your bones? And you're like, of course I would like to. I've never seen bones in my feet without hurting it. And the funny thing, you spend the most time in the shoe store, specifically when you go there with kids. Because you need to find the balance between you as a parent and your kid, what shoes your kid need and want to wear, so it's like a long thing. If you've ever been there, you remember how you've been going to such stores with your mom or with your dad, you might remember how long it is and devastating. And of course, your parents want to be sure that the shoe is actually fitting your feet. So in child section, imagine checking all of the sizes with this machine on a kid's feet. Nice technology. And if you are inspired by beginning of 20th century, you want to feel yourself a little bit like 1 century ago, you might go to Rosenthaler Platz, because the pile which is used to cover the walls is made by uranium. It's still like that. Like the station was built in 30s. Yes, and the orange pile is made by uranium, and it's still radioactive, by the way. You can take a Geiger counter, go there, and it will start. Maybe it makes sense now. Why so many crazy things going around Rosenthaler Platz? Yes. Next thing, like as many things today, which I would like to tell you about, what's happening or started in America. This wild place. And the thing is, liquid gasoline. It was hugely popular. It was used everywhere. So what is that? It was used since 1921 to 1996, officially in America. So like when you have just basic gasoline, you have this engine knock. So sometimes there is those tiny explosions which can destroy faster the inner machinery of engine. And we wanted to reduce this amount of NOx. so the engine will work longer. And the guy, Thomas Mitchell Jr., decided to go with tau. This is gigantic molecule with lead in that. Why is it difficult? Because it is evaporating after used mixed with gasoline, with gases. So this plume, this lead, will go into the air after usage in the engine, with the gas which going after the car. And the main issue that this thing actually helps to reduce engine knock, but also ethanol can reduce the engine knock. And of course, it's better to evaporate ethanol, not lead. But why we don't now we use ethanol? And you might say that, oh, maybe Thomas Mitchell Jr. didn't know about ethanol. Oh, yes, he knew. But because it's the beginning of the 20th century, and because it's America, ethanol cannot be patented. You cannot say that adding ethanol to the gasoline is only your technology. You will need to share. If you are opening or introducing a new molecular compound, such as tau, you can say that now it's our technology, we will not share it, we will be the only people who will use it, so now you can become a monopolist. So Thomas Mitchell Jr. knew about ethanol. He specifically decided not to use it, because otherwise they won't be able to have a monopoly. And no? By the way, Thomas Mitchell Jr. was a super nice guy, because he is known as a person who killed the world almost twice. So he did it 2 times. And now we'll speak about leaded gasoline more. So, imagine New Jersey, 1924. You have manufacturing to do this leaded gasoline. You have 49 employees. 34 of them are hospitalized with the big health difficulties, and 5 of them are dying. Nice, right? 64% of whole of your fabric is just in hospital. It is like the huge deal back in the day, and Thomas Mitchell Jr. starts a conference right after this thing. And he's specifically showing reporters that leaded gasoline is not a bad thing. He's breathing with the evaporated leaded gasoline, he's pouring it on his skin, etc., etc. The only thing that Thomas Mitchell Jr. knew that it is harmful. He just didn't know everyone else to know it. So he knew when he placed the fabric that those people will have massive issues with their health. He knew that he himself will be damaged by breathing with leaded gasoline or pouring it on his skin. But he still showed it like it's okay for reporters, so they can further run the business. And actually, the consequences of leaded gasoline was awful. So, I know that those things look strange and unbelievable. That's why everywhere you might see a link to the paper or article I took this information from. Because during the whole time span, 824 million IQ points was lost. Because kids and pregnant women was breathing with lead. Lost by US population from childhood leaded gas exposure, 2.6 per person on average, up to 6 points for those born in the 90s, 60s, and 70s. That's why boomers are like that. It is not their fault. It is faults of Thomas Mitchell Jr. We sadly don't have this data for all countries because it's quite difficult research, but we know it hopefully from US. 5.5 million deaths per year Woo!
Yay!
Yeah, now we have jingle for that, so it's like we celebrate. The most recent global estimate by Lancet, it's like famous medical journal, puts annual lead exposure cost at $6 trillion, 7% of global GDP, with 5.5 cardiovascular death and 665 million IQ point lost in childhood under 5 in only 2019. Only in 2019. So it's like almost yesterday. Oh, I wish it would be almost yesterday. Okay, so like it's still bad. What do you think was the last day the liquid gasoline was used?
Today?
No.
Yesterday.
2021 July. The last country which banned liquid gasoline was Algeria. So like we've been using it for almost a century, even knowing it's harmful from very beginning. Nice. And do not go far away from Mr. Junior, Thomas Mitchell Jr. This guy, his second attempt to kill the world, to destroy it, was with freons. Do you see something interesting on this picture? Yes, the Earth is not flat, probably. But in here, this layer, what is this layer? Atmosphere, and maybe something which is now is a little bit less in our atmosphere than it used to be.
Ozone.
Yes, bingo. It is ozone layer. So this guy, after 4 years after this conference and lots of dead people because of liquid gasoline on a fabric, he like, oh no, I think I have one more idea. And he like, if we will use inactive gas to cool things down or to transfer it, like as freons was used, that's super nice. Inert gases are nice. Why don't you use them? It actually looks like a good idea, and nothing is bad. But one chlorine atom, like freons, they are super light, so they can directly not like evaporating, but like migrating to the top layers of atmosphere. So like super close to the space. And this layer of atmosphere is super important and crucial for us because this layer should protect the people who are on Earth from the sun radiation, sun wind, etc., etc. And the chlorine from freons, it's going in this crucial place in our atmosphere, and we have the ozone. Ozone is nice. Ozone layer is protecting us. But the one chlorine molecule can easily destroy up to 100,000 ozone molecules. Like, destroy. Because usually oxygen is bonded with 2 bonds with other atoms, and in here you see like 3 atoms of oxygen, and it's like super unstable molecule, so it's easily be disrupted by chlorine. Oh no, I will help my computer. Give me a sec. Yeah. And because of usage of freons, we now have a hole in our sky. And because of that, we all know about ozone. But actually nice that in 1989 there was the Montreal Protocol to force and reduce global emissions of ozone-depleting substances. And they immediately cut it down. The bigger ozone hole was close to Antarctica, closer to Australia. That's why in Australia we have such a big cancer rate right now. But the good thing is those ozone holes are getting to be smaller, and they will be fully reduced by 2060s. You just need to wait a little bit. Maybe then cancer will be either cured, either there will be less amount of cancer, because we'll have the whole, like the normal sky, the normal protection without holes in it. This building, who lives in Berlin, they know. Ugly but beautiful spaceship made, and now it is not in use, because when it was building, workers used asbestos. Asbestos is also a very nice thing. It is still in use. It was as well opened in the first half of 20th century as many other good things. It is fireproof. It is cheap. It is a strong material. It was used in schools, homes, ships, to bricks, to insulation, everywhere. Because like fire is a big thing. We don't want fire to start. So super cool thing. Globally, 255,000 people die every year because of asbestos. It is responsible, asbestos, for 50% of all occupational cancer death, and it takes 20 to 60 years between exposure and diagnosis. Why so? When you want to make a hole in your wall, or you are just building something, there is dust. Dust which contain asbestos in super tiny particles, lay down in your lung, forcing you to breathe, to have issues with your breath, to have in advance issues with your probably lung cancer. And I'm not joking in this part, because my grandfather, he's from Georgia, and he had 11 more siblings, brothers. The older brother was by the day working in geography institution in Sukhumi. All other 11 brothers was not so doing well with the job, so they was usually on summer they took some time to work on as builders, as workers, and all of those 11 brothers died from a variety of lung issues, including my own grandfather. All of them was working with asbestos. All of them have issues with plevra, variety of cancers, variety of just when the lungs are destroying themselves from inside. So it's like actually takes a long time between exposure and diagnosis, and actually a lot of people actually were harmed by that. And in Germany, it was banned only in 1993. It probably will cost to 9.4 million. It's almost 9.4 million homes contain asbestos in Germany, and just to test alone, is it okay or not okay for us to live in asbestos houses? It would cost approximately almost 200 million euro per year. So actually to live in asbestos house is in house which is made with asbestos not such a bad thing. Just need not to drill anything. Don't use it. And the amount of dust is not such crucial, but the older the building is getting, the more dust it's producing. So you need to test, is it yet normal amount of dust you can have or no? But okay, we're speaking about dust which can kill you. So is it okay to have a little bit of dust which will kill you, or is it still okay to live in this amount of killing compound, or it's should we move? It's do you want to live with the tiny radiation? No, I would like not to. And the issue with such housing is that you cannot just destroy it, because usually we just those buildings, but in that case there will be more asbestos dust. We don't want it. So takes longer and more expensive technologies to erase a building with asbestos in its walls. I know that we've spent a lot of time and maybe you want to smoke. Not now, we will speak about smoking. I was thinking a lot about the picture and I was like, how would I show the smoke? And then oh my god, there we smell it. And that's actually a case. Back in the day, and still now, many of us started smoking, for example, because it looked cool. Actually, when you go smoking with people, you might know some interesting gossips, etc., like networking moment, and also you look cool, of course. And that's mostly because of marketing and media, which was for many decades forcing us to push tobacco business. But a little bit of chemistry. We have nicotine. Nicotine is alkaloid made by plants to kill insects. Plants don't want to be eaten by insects, so it produces nicotine which should kill insects. People. Smoke it. You like it. And the nicotine can be a little bit changed by pH. So if the pH is lower than 3, we can see deprotonated nicotine. It is not used, it is not absorbed by our bodies, don't need that. If it's normal pH, like our regular one, we have monoprotonated version. It is poorly absorbed, but it's like okay. And we have super high level of pH, like bigger than 8. It's like 3 base, and it is highly absorbed. Regularly, when you just smoke in tobacco leaves, you have pH 5.5 or 6, so it's like monoprotein, so it's like poorly but absorbed. And people, like the factories, the companies wanted for people to be more addicted to smoking. In that case, you might be buying more and more packages, so you're like forever customer, and also like they wanted cigarette to hit better. So they said, okay, let's move from monoprotonated version to free base. How would we do this? How can we push it there? To use ammonia. Just to put tobacco leaves into ammonia and then dry them. Like seep them in ammonia, like let them dry, then use. And when you're using ammonia in that case, you actually level up the absorption of nicotine, and as well, cigarette is burning faster. So like you have bigger hit and smaller time of smoking. So you probably will take the next thing from a packaging. And actually, with the smoking, it's interesting because like we have those packages, we know everyone like you can open them, and it wasn't always like that. Back in the day, we had packages which was like moving out from the side part, so you can take a cigarette without taking the whole package out of the pocket. And then marketing company just said it, but in that case no one sees what cigarette to use. And it's easier to make like the package than to make individual cases for each cigarette, so it would be understandable and known. So they made a new concept of packaging, just so you need to take it out to smoke. So you're showing everyone who you're smoking with what are you smoking. You are the walking banner. You are an advertisement by yourself just by smoking it. But not too many things. So yes, they decided to move it to the free base, which is highly absorbed. And what is nice that the same trick is used to make crack from cocaine. Woo!
Yeah.
I like it so much. It's like smoking is okay, but we use the same trick to make crack. Officially, you can use only 2 sorts of tobacco, but secretly they made. And we've been growing one more strain in Brazil, which was called Y1. It did had double nicotine content, so it was by itself had more nicotine. Specifically grown in Brazil and disclosed by FDA only in 1984. And actually 1990s was interesting time for smoking, because there was such a thing. No one officially knew that smoking is bad. So sometimes they were just saying for pregnant women to smoke more, because in that case they can replace their growing appetite. So they would not get bigger, they would not have so much fat after pregnancy, so their husband would like them more after they give birth. Nice. Like it so much. And back in the day it was like the huge monies was running around the advertising of smoking, and there was actually a thing, a cowboy Marlboro. So they made not only packaging, they made like a character for advertisement. So like super masculine man was on a horse, and he's so cool, and he's smoking Marlboro Red. And if you want to be as cool as Cowboy Marlboro, just buy a package of Marlboro Red. And in the beginning of 90s, 3 out of 5 actors who played Cowboy Marlboro got hospitalized with lung cancer. Woo! And everyone was like, what a strange coincidence. Maybe they've been breathing with asbestos and leaded gasoline. That's why, not because of smoking. So, actually, they even started investigation. FDA started. So the Congress of USA was like, please, leaders of tobacco companies, dear CEOs, can you please come into Congress? And all of those guys came in 1994, and all of them put one hand on Bible or Constitution. I don't know what they put their hand on in America, and they all said, I believe nicotine is not addictive. I don't know about any harm that smoking is bringing to. They did. And after that, there was actually like a nice movie, you can watch it yourself. It's a nice story. The movie is called The Insider, and it is the story how one biologist just forced the whole tobacco industry to say that no, actually we knew that it is harmful, and because of that guy we now have those scary pictures on our packaging, so and many restrictions. So what happened? This guy, I'm almost forgetting his name, that's bad of mine. This guy who was played by a young Russell Crowe, he was a pharmacist, like he was working in pharmaceuticals, and he was working for something like, I don't remember specifically, but the tobacco company, Johnson & Johnson, the guys who are making like a strike, they offered him a place with better everything, with better housing, with better salary, and the most important for our antagonist as that with better insurance, because he did have a daughter which was chronically ill, and the insurance would help a lot because the company said that we will pay the insurance for her whole life, for you, for whole family. And that's a problem because he was on a hook by the company. And by the way, everyone by that time knew that if you were moving from pharma to tobacco industry, you cannot go back to pharma. It's like doors are closed. He'd been working a couple of years in a department which was called like the health, something like that, like to make cigarettes healthier. He was coming up with many interesting ideas, for example, not to use ammonia. And the directors everywhere was like, interesting idea, we'll think about it. And nothing has happened, like nothing. He quitted his job, and obviously he signed the NDA. The company for the first time even saved the insurance and house for him. But then he needed some money, and he started to be, not the witness, I forgot the name. So like with other tobacco companies where was some issues with court, he was like expert for FBI to check something. And obviously the company didn't like that their ex-employee, which knows a lot of secrets about health and cigarettes, are walking around and helping to sue other tobacco companies. He was super paranoid. There was many things, but the nice story, long story short, there always also was a nice journalist thing which was called 19 Minutes. It's like a documentary film, investigation to something. And anonymously, our guy is sending a letter to 60 Minutes, and they take the whole case under the production to investigate. And because he had NDA, he was not able to disclose any information. So, TV company, the channel, just started suing process with Johnson & Johnson to bring the scientist as a witness, and in court you are able to open like to not to do NDA, but in that case the company, the TV channel was paying his bills for opening NDA. In the end, it was like super scandal, like huge thing. They they caught all of them, they forced all of them to pay enormous bills back, and like huge reputational issues. Yes, but we're still smoking. And now it is forbidden to have advertisement of cigarettes. Now it is forbidden to show them, especially specific packaging in cinema. We have like censory, etc., etc. But for example, the film Red Apple is used by Quentin Tarantino. It's like fake cigarettes. They've never been there, but in every movie of Tarantino you can see them. And he's not paying anything back because it's fake cigarettes. It's not real brand. So we are coming to think, I've told you we will do PFAS. These are compounds my current startup is working on, and it's everywhere. What's nice about this molecule, that water cannot stick to it. So like anything you want not to be wet, you can cover by PFAS. It could be Gore-Tex, it could be all the membranes you use for outdoor hiking gear. Non-sticking pants, for example, are covered with PFAS. Or waterproof mascara have PFAS, not to stick to the water. It's everywhere. Yes, as I said, there's more than 10,000 synthetic compounds in PFAS family. It was invented in the 1940s, and the bond between fluor and carbon is super hard. It's like unbreakable. So usually we have like carbon bond with the many hydrogens which is very easy to detach and then attach back and attach at a chemical group. But the fluor is very strong. It's like holding everything together. It is the strongest bond in organic chemistry which we know, and nothing in nature can break it. So it is another story, and it's funny because like remember Thomas Midgey Jr., right? Who did the Freon? The official name Freon was everyone was like, oh no, cool, we have Freons. And the next company who took the idea of Freons and was working about it was DuPont. And now DuPont is the company which brought for our world PFAS. So PFAS stands for pure and polyfluoroacryl substances, a family of more than 1,000 synthetic compounds. The key understanding PFAS is one number. The carbon, which I said, you cannot break it. So like for compression, the carbon-hydrogen bond, the workhorse of basic biology chemistry, the bond that almost every enzyme in your body has evolved to break is around like a lot. But nothing can break a bond between carbon and fluoride. No enzyme, no bacterium, no amount of time in any environment on Earth. So we cannot break it. That's why they called forever chemicals. They like stable as hell. And that property specifically made them commercially brilliant. Water repellent, heat resistant, etc., etc., etc. Gore-Tex, for example, but the timeline, which is in here, DuPont, who bring this technology, knew that it is harmful from very beginning. So imagine, 40s we bring up this molecule, 60s DuPont starting to use it. 1961. I'm sorry for reading, but this is like official notes from documents. 1961, DuPont, chef of toxicology, discovered that Teflon, Teflon, materials cause enlarged livers in rats. Internal memo, handled with extreme care, avoid skin contact. Field in jelly, not disclosed. So the good thing, they used rats to check the chemicals. Finally, we are checking chemicals. If we see something weird, no, we are not closing manufacturing. We're just writing down, handled with extreme care, avoid skin contact. But yes, we will use Teflon for non-sticking pans, so mamas all around the globe will make pancakes for their kids in the morning. 1970, internal memo for DuPont handled Husky laboratory. PFAS is highly toxic when inhaled and moderately toxic when ingested. Not disclosed. Again, we are using Teflon to cover pans, which we're making food on. Highly toxic when inhaled and moderately toxic when ingested. 1981. 3 million uniform DuPont that PFOA, one specific compound, causes birth defects in rats. DuPont tested children of pregnant employees in the Teflon division. 7 births, 2 children with eye defects, not disclosed. 1984. DuPont discovers that dust from its factory chimneys has contaminated the local water supply in Parkersburg, West Virginia. The local water utility is not informed. Remember, highly moderately toxic when ingested. From 1998 to 2002, a farmer named Wilbur Tennant sues DuPont after his cattle started dying. His lawyer, Robert Billett, subpoenas internal documents. 80,000 West Virginia residents join a class action. The documents become public. This is the story behind the film, which is called Dark Water, so you can also watch this movie as well. 2004, the EPA fines DuPont for $16.5 million for canceling data on PFOA, the largest civil environmental penalty in US history at all time. DuPont annual revenue from PFOA, $1 billion. So they're not even in minus. They almost didn't, so they paid some fines. 2023, the International Agency of Research of Cancer qualifies PFOA as Group 1 cancerogen. Confirmed cause of cancer in human. Same category as tobacco smoke and asbestos. 2024, the EPA finally sets national drinking water standards for 6 PFAS. April 24, the EPA signals it will roll back standards for 4 of those 6 compounds. Yes, they knew it from the very beginning, and they specifically was using it for food and kitchen, etc. It's like, I have no words. So where are we now? 2022 study from Stockholm University tests rainwater in locations around the world, including Antarctica and Tibet. Their conclusion: there is nowhere on Earth where rainwater would be safe to drink under the current EPA guidelines. Even in fucking Antarctica, we have enough PFAS to say that this water is not drinkable, is not safe to drink. Good news that European Union are now working and forced make the stronger regulation, but sad news, we don't have, as I said, to test water, for example, for amount of PFAS. now it's possible with amount of amount to detect to say it's safe or not with the level which was made by European Union. It's possible now only by chemical or physical instruments like mass spectrometry or liquid chromatography. It costs a lot. We don't have those money. And now there is no approved bioremediation methods for PFAS. So there are lots of works how to sense PFAS with the enzymes, which I'm now doing, but the work is to be able to detect it on lower and lower amounts because it's highly toxic. Yeah. So yeah, that's what my project in iGEM and my tiny startup is doing. We're trying to save the world. And yes, as I said about PFAS, you see how many bonds of carbon with fluoride is here? It's just one of the versions. They can be longer, they can be shorter. Kind of messy. So yes, we are trying to reduce, our project is to make a sample, make a sensor. So you just bring water from the place you want to test, or you bring biosensor there, test it, and it would be faster and cheaper. And other part of our team is now thinking about trying to destroy PFAS, to find reaction or enzyme which would be able to destroy it, and that's why, for example, we're using AI. We're trying to design a new protein almost from scratch, which is now possible by AlphaFold. Nice. Many technologies. So yes, that was a sad story. Thank you for your attention. Be safe, ask questions, stay tuned. This is Instagram of our iGEM team. Check how we'll be able to save the world. And actually, if you want to help us to save the world, you can donate us a little bit. Thank you for your attention, and I'm ready for your questions. We're all gonna die. What notes would we take from this tiny history lesson? That we need to test new chemical compounds before using them. And maybe we need to uplift the price of human life and human health. And maybe we don't need to have such rapid progress. We're too slow for our own speed. Yeah. That's what I wanted to say. Thank you so much. Questions? Questions, please.